Alrighty, so we are starting off in the basement today. There is a nice clean out underneath the deck. Unfortunately, the access to underneath the deck is a little crowded, a little too crowded to get my gear in there, so we're actually going to go from inside today. See, they've done a lot of newer plumbing in here into some old cast iron. Previous leakage, but looks like it's all been dealt with. Flushed toilet, ran some water, and all of this down here appears to be from a previous incident. So there's no active leaks. We do also have an old locate right about here. So that's going to be about within the first 10-12 feet of our inspection here. So I'll make sure to take a close look at this area here. But as you can see, that's all been replaced. Goes up this back wall, underneath the expansion, underneath the deck, and outside has all been replaced. We see trenching and a cut in the alleyway telling me that it's been replaced to the city side. So we're going to go ahead and hop in the line here and make sure everything looks good. Alrighty, we do have some pretty high channeling of the cast iron here. On the left and right of your screen here is known as scale buildup. As the cast iron slowly rusts close, it builds up, makes these banks, and then the water flows through it, eroding it, and makes a channel, similar to how like rivers and canyons and stuff are formed. So this here is enough for me to recommend a cleaning. Because this is most likely a mixed medium line, I would recommend against using a hydrojet, just because hydrojets, if they're using a root cutting nozzle, can have a high enough PSI to damage cast iron. So this line is probably best off being cleaned with a chain auger. You can get a 3-inch blade, but those blades tend to be a lot rougher on PVC. So that's why I tend to lean towards the chain auger cleaning. So we're going to go ahead and push the line here, make sure we don't have any clay underneath the structure, and that we actually have cast iron going all the way out to that clean PVC. Right here, you can actually see more scale buildup. As you can see, it's made a bank that actually pops up and then goes down. That can quickly become a flow restriction if proper maintenance is not done. So we're definitely recommending a routine cleaning for this line. Alrighty, so structurally speaking, the cast iron is in good condition. We didn't see any cracks, any signs of rotting or pitting in the material. So it looks like it just needs a little TLC to get everything flowing back the way it should. We're going to run some water, proof flow here at the transition point. As you can see, that is a PVC or plastic external line right here. You can barely see the connection. It looks to be a strong back Fernco, which is like a rubber boot, but it is reinforced. So that is a good connection to connect PVC to cast iron with. Alrighty, so here are our dual sweep cleanouts. When I was under the deck, I only saw one, but at the bottom of the stairs to the deck, there is a square cutout. Looks like this cleanout here is the one underneath the deck in the crawl space area, and then this one here is actually underneath the deck proper. So it's a bit of an odd situation. This one is easily accessible by opening a door and crawling underneath if you're small enough. And this one, you actually need a star bit to get into. So it's not a normal flathead or Phillips screw in there. It is decking screws. So to do maintenance on that, you're going to need a specific kind of head. But so far, everything looks pretty gosh darn good. We're going to go ahead and keep pushing along here. And looks like we have a tie-in for a secondary line here. So we're going to go ahead and flush the toilet in the basement and see if that hooks up. There it is, and you can see with that we do have some particulate coming out, which means that we'll probably have a good amount of scale buildup in the secondary line. This age of construction, it's not uncommon to see multiple lines leaving the foundation and then tying into the main in the backyard. So today we ended up inspecting from the primary stack and all of the primary plumbing. Given what I'm seeing here, that we had, bits of cast iron coming out, and we do have streaking along the bottom here, a bit heavier than we do from the main line, I would say that that probably has more scale buildup in the cast iron line there. So I'm also going to recommend that that line be cleaned and inspected. Alrighty, and here at 61 feet we have our city tap. As we can see that the city main is original clay. It is a PVC to clay connection here. It looks fantastic, it's aligned appropriately, we've got great flow into the main, and the main doesn't show any signs of cracking or damage near our client's connection. So I'm going to flush the toilet one more time just so we can watch the flow into the main, and we'll start pulling out. Overall, the line looks fantastic. I am going to recommend some routine maintenance for the main line, and I am going to recommend that the secondary line be cleaned and inspected from the basement toilet. Make sure all of that is also in good health. And looking at the plumbing in the basement, seems that the secondary line also feeds the utility sink in the basement, as well as the upstairs kitchen. So it is also very important to do maintenance from there. They did install a 2-inch clean out on the secondary line, which is fantastic for any future maintenance. So But we're not going to recommend anything for that today. We're just going to focus on our main lines, on our waste lines, making sure that they are in good condition. Again, clean the main line. Main line does not need to be re-scoped. That secondary line from the basement toilet though, clean that, inspect it, just make sure it's in good health. When it comes to maintenance, I would recommend alternating access points. So go from the main access in the basement, and then, next time you get it cleaned, go from the toilet in the basement, just to make sure that you're covering all of your cast iron and keeping your cast iron in as good as health as possible to make sure that you don't need to replace any more of it. Alrighty, now that we're here in the sweep, we're going to go ahead and flush the toilet one more time and just watch how everything interacts with the main sweep. Alrighty, so that all looks like it's flowing fine. When I flushed the upstairs toilet, I did notice that when you flushed it, and this is the second floor toilet that I flushed, when you flush that, which comes down the main stack on the other side of this wall, over there, that guy right there. When you flush the toilet from the second floor, in the shower, you can hear the toilet flush. There is a slight push of airflow and a minor odor. It tells me that there might not be a pee trap in that shower. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to recommend that that shower drain be inspected by a licensed plumber. If it is found that there is no pee trap in there, one needs to be installed. Looking down in there, there was no sign of any standing water, which you would typically see in a shower. Nothing really holding back those gases and those smells from coming out of your shower instead of going out of the main vent. So that needs to be looked at by a plumber. The main line here needs to be cleaned, and then the secondary line around the corner there, over on that side of the wall, that toilet needs to be pulled, cleaned, and inspected to make sure that that secondary line is in good condition. Outside of that, I'm not recommending any like major repairs or anything like that today. It looks like most of the issues were taken care of at some point in the past.